Today, we pay homage to my grandmother and her fantastic American spaghetti. What you'll need for this dish is some spaghetti, 1 can of tomato soup, about a pound of ground beef. I have 4 slices of bacon, and I think about a half a cup of peppers and about a half a cup of diced onions. And that's pretty much all that you need right there. The first step in this dish is to get your spaghetti on, boiling. And I'm going to use a rice cooker. And that is absolutely my favorite way to cook pasta and rice, obviously. But I got out enough spaghetti noodles, probably for about 2 servings, because I plan on having this again tomorrow. Now, I usually break them in half just so they'll fit down in the rice cooker a little better. Now you want to put, I'm going to put about 4 cups of water in here because you're not going to cook this until the water evaporates. The way the rice cooker actually functions is it is looking for the evaporation of the water. As soon as the water is completely evaporated out and the sensors tell it that, then it stops the cooking and goes into the keep warm. But with pasta, you don't want to let that happen. You want to kind of boil it as long as you want to. Rice takes about 20 minutes, and this pasta is probably going to take about 10 to 15 minutes. Now, as a Southerner, born and raised in the South, we like ours well done. We don't like the al dente like they tend to like up in the Northeast. But the one thing I did learn was you want to put enough salt so that the water is like ocean water. Very briny, very salty. There is a lot of discussion about whether you should actually put oil in with your pasta or not. The one argument is that the pasta won't stick together as easily. But my argument is the sauce isn't really going to stick to the pasta as well if you have oil on it. So I'm leaving the oil out. I do like the taste of olive oil, but we're leaving the oil out. All right, you just set this thing down. I usually use the white rice function. It all pretty much says the same. Pull this out so it doesn't warp my cabinets. Put it on white rice. And there it goes. It's starting to cook. What it will do, it was this electronic piece right here will flip around and around and around until it finally gets to the boiling state. And once it gets to the boiling state, then this will go solid and start counting down. At that point, you need to start checking your pasta and seeing how it's kind of looking for your taste. Now, it's time to start making up our great sauce. Actually, you can let the sauce cook as long as you kind of keep it warm on the oven, on the stove rather. But we're going to let our pasta cook, and then we're going to get started with our sauce. Okay, let's get started on our sauce here. I'll put this on about medium using my little induction cooker again. And we're going to get some bacon going. Can't go wrong with bacon. So like I said, about 4 little things of bacon. I think I'm going to rip this in half. We're going to get this thing started. Actually, let's pause that for a second while we rip up our bacon. Get it all laid out in there. case you didn't know, this is definitely the key to this particular dish. It's the bacon. I think we're just gonna have enough room. Now you want to cook this bacon a little bit slow to render the fat. You don't want to get it too well done. Now it looks like our bacon's done. I'm just going to take that out to a paper towel over here, because that is going to be part of the topping. Now, I did render a good bit of fat, so I have my trusty Pyrex cup, and we're going to pour a little of that in there with the fat we had from making bacon yesterday. That should work. Okay, our next step is to put in our hamburger. Bust that up real good. Now originally this recipe was made with a can of Armour Roast Beef in the can with gravy. Now I had always romanticized this dish to be something that was put out by the government during World War II, when rationing was a big deal, and that it was somehow connected to the blackouts and the stuff that was going on in the States during World War II. But after I read the original recipe, much to my romantic disillusionment I had about it, I realized it was really just a way to take care of leftovers. The original recipe actually called for cold beef or pork, which you would assume is your leftovers. I, however, had a pound of hamburger. My mother said this would be just fine with hamburger, so we're going to try hamburger with it. Now, next step, I'm just going to go ahead and get this started. I'm going to go ahead and put in my peppers and my onions. Somehow I just don't think this is going to be quite as good as I recall my grandmother's, because it was actually the beef and those, I think that's enough. I need maybe a little more. It was the roast beef and the gravy that made this kind of unique tasting. But we're going to try it with the hamburger and see how it tastes. So let's get that all mixed up together here. Once again, I have it on about medium. I'm going to add a little bit of this bacon fat in there, just to make it taste better. Now, if you were going to make it with the roast beef and you weren't cooking the hamburger, what you want to do is go ahead and saute your onions and your peppers and probably all of the leftover bacon fat, depending on how much you have. But for now, I think we're just going to use a little bit of it and cook all of this together. All right, I'll be back when this gets a little bit further along, and then we'll add our tomato soup and see how this turns out. Okay, looks like it's cooked up pretty good there. I'm going to drop it down on about medium because we're about to add the tomato soup and I don't want it spitting all over the place here. So you see everything's nice and brown. The peppers and the onions seem to be cooked up really nice. So this is the last step. Like I said, this is an easy one. The key to this is how you serve it, and I'm going to show you exactly how that's done. Anyway, I had said I always romanticized about this. So this was some kind of propaganda, you know, from the U.S. government, that because I think a lot of people think of World War II, probably especially the younger crowd, and don't realize that we were fighting against Italy too, and Mussolini and his fascist government. So I thought, American spaghetti, that must mean, you know, with anti-fascism or whatever the case may be. That ought to do it. Now the instructions say cook it until it's thickened. Well, I don't see how you can get much thicker than that, but we're going to try. Like I said, this was one of my favorite dishes that my grandmother used to cook, my mother's mother. And I realized it actually came from a much older recipe, but it was just happened to be my mother found it, you know, an old recipe that was my grandmother's, or it tasted like my grandmother's. It was by someone else, and it was what you did with leftovers, leftover roast beef or whatever. So my little romantic notion of it being some sort of a anti-fascist World War II era thing wasn't correct, but that's okay. It's called American spaghetti, so America, right? Alright, we're going to let that cook down for a little bit, and then I'm going to show you how to serve it, because the key to this is how you serve it more than anything else. Now keep in mind, this is American spaghetti, so we have to use American cheese. So how much more American does it get than cheddar cheese and bacon? I think that's about as good as it gets. Alright, I'll be back when this is cooked down a little bit and I'll show you how to serve it up. Okay, I think we're ready. Okay, pasta is done to my liking. First step, add a little cheese. Now, Parmesan or any of those other types of cheeses just will not do. Remember, this is American spaghetti, so it needs American ingredients, and it all just tastes perfect this way. I mean, I guess you had to put Parmesan on it, but the consistency is just not the same. Okay, so we have our American cheese. And we'll ladle over some of our sauce here. Kill that. Oh, no, no, no. There we go. Oh, the best is yet to come. Okay. Well, I was trying to do that so pretty. Son of a gun. I wanted that to look gorgeous, but close enough. Okay. Now the good part. There is no other way to do bacon correctly except by hand. So we are going to crumble some bacon over the top. Oh, I think one more piece. And there we have it. My grandmother's American spaghetti. So I'm gonna stop and have a bite, and we'll get right back to it. This is gonna be good. Yeah, the cheese is kind of melted on there, which makes it even better. Yeah, looks very similar to what my grandmother used to make. I'll have to see if I could find some of that Armour canned roast beef with gravy. All right, here we go. Well, even just using the hamburger, tastes just like my grandmother's. Good stuff. Good stuff indeed. Well, this will be a couple of days worth of food. Well, listen, if you like this, please subscribe to my channel if you like the way that I'm cooking. And I'll have plenty more recipes like this. I think the next one coming up might be some cookies, some peanut butter cookies, homemade. Can't beat those. And everything's fairly easy. These women had to cook 3 meals a day. And so their recipes are not terribly difficult, but they're really, really, really tasty. So if you like what I'm doing, hit the subscribe button. If you like this dish particularly, hit the like button. And that'll help me out a little bit. So if you like it, hit the like button. If you didn't like it, hit the like button anyway. This is Dr. J. Over and out.